The New York Knicks are NBA champions. It has been a long 53 years. When the season started, I had the Knicks winning the championship against the Denver Nuggets. Of course, Denver just bowed out in the first round, and you saw the Spurs make their incredible run to the Western Conference and beat the Thunder in seven. But even when the Knicks faced San Antonio, I love Victor Wembanyama, as you can see in the poster back there. And I'll get to the Spurs in another video. But when the Spurs faced New York, I just thought this is a bad matchup for the San Antonio Spurs. You look at what happened in the NBA Cup where they first met up, and I noticed that how Cat could bring Wemby out of the paint, that their forwards like OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges were bigger dudes than guys like Champagnie, Stephon Casso, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper. They have a lot of talent on the Spurs side, but those wings for the Knicks are just bigger and stronger. Landry Shamet. They just provide more resistance against those perimeter players. And you saw it play out in these finals where the Knicks were like, okay, Castle, beat us from three. Champagnie, he had his knockdown shots. De'Aaron Fox knocked down a jump shot. Dylan Harper knocked down some jump shots. And then when they tried to score on OG Anunoby, he was just constantly either blocking the shot or protecting the rim. So you look at that, and then you factor in the offense where when the Knicks were moving the ball and not relying too heavily on Brunson ball, they were getting whatever they wanted. When that ball was popping and moving, they were getting open looks. Even on the catch and shoot threes, like with Mikal Bridges, he just shot right over a contested shot from a guy like Stephon Cass or Dylan Harper, Champagnie. Why? Because they're too small compared to guys like Bridges and OG Anunoby. That's why I had the Knicks win the series. I had it in 7 because I thought, well, Wemby will probably have a couple games where he'll just dominate, and you have a game from Fox or Harper. But after game 2, really in the first half, I just said this series is over because the Spurs would build a lead, like 10, 15 points. Knicks would go on the run, and the Spurs looked shell-shocked. They looked overwhelmed by the Knicks. And when the Knicks hit their threes and they were rolling, it just felt like all the momentum was on their side. Even when the Spurs responded, you never truly believed that they were going to pull it out. And clutch time situations, it really showed itself with a team with no playoff experience. It finally caught up to the San Antonio Spurs. On top of that, when the Knicks ran their stuff, they knew exactly who they were going to. Jalen Brunson, Cat, you were going to get shots for OG, whoever may be, they had sets ran. For the Spurs, they didn't have a guy who could create off the dribble. Like Wemby is still an unfinished product. He has to get better, whether it's in the post game, getting a pull up, 15 foot mid range shot. He's got to get better. And then you have guards like Casso and Fox and Dylan Harper who aren't reliable jump shooters. And your best creator is De'Aaron Fox, and he was just a disaster in this series. You could say the ankle injury had something to do with it, but the Spurs just weren't sure of themselves in those clutch situations. The Knicks were. And the reason why is the experience caught up in these finals. I understand the New York Knicks have never been the NBA Finals. Now I know OG Anunoby has been in this situation before. He played with the Toronto Raptors in a smaller role, but he's had the experience. But Jalen Brunson, this is his 3rd playoff run with the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. He's been in the second round twice, right? Got bounced by the Heat the first time, got bounced by the Pacers. They had some injuries that didn't help the series. But then you go to the conference finals last year after you lost, 13 or 14 games in a row against my Boston Celtics. Boston had 2 20-point leads in their building, and the Knicks came back. Playoff experience. Now you're building this belief of, okay, if we're down in games, doesn't mean we're out of it. So the Knicks had this on their side. You look at the 22-point deficit in game 1 of the conference finals against the Cavs with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left in the game. The Knicks came back and won. So I understand people can say, like, well, the Knicks never been here, but you have so much playoff experience. Maybe not in the NBA Finals, but plenty of times where the Knicks have shown you time and time again, we can come back. They won the NBA Cup. I know it's not worth a lot, but that was experience of beating the Spurs on a neutral site. And then you go to the NBA championship. Like, this team is the first one ever to win the cup and the championship. That's just crazy to even think about. But this Knicks team was phenomenal. 16-3 in this playoff run. When they went down 2-1 against the Hawks, they were 15-1 the rest of the way. Pure dominance. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, they played some weak teams in the Eastern Conference. It's not their fault. You beat who's in front of you, and they dominated on this playoff run. They won by an average of 15 points a game. That's the best playoff differential in NBA history. Just insane stuff. So let's pull up some key stats from the Knicks run because I can't say enough about this team and how good they were on this run. As you can see, 15 points a game. It's better than the 2017 Warriors, which is insane. 2001 Lakers, 1991 Bulls, 1971 Bucks. OG Anunoby, this man, incredible. 67.2% effective field goal percentage. This man shot 49% from three on this playoff run. Bruh. Dude was remarkable. He was 59% from the left corner. It's just unreal what this guy did. Now, they did have some luck, but you need that on your path to win a championship. Their opponents shot 34.6% on wide open three-pointers, but it is what it is. The Knicks made their shots, their opponents didn't. And they took advantage of their matchups. You could say they didn't have to play the Boston Celtics or Pistons. I think the Pistons would have given them maybe a 6-game series. But even as a Boston fan, objectively speaking, I didn't think we were this good anyways, because when I look at the talent we had last year, you lose Drew Holiday, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Cornett, and you replaced him with Baylor Shireman, Neemias Queta, and who else was our rotation pieces? I'm not thinking about Brown and Tatum. Derek White, who struggled from three on this playoff run. The Knicks would have beaten them in 6 games because 2 of the rotational pieces don't have enough experience. Experience is key to me when I look at these playoffs. Could Boston have pushed them to 7 games? Maybe. But the Knicks would have found a way, in my personal opinion, because I think the depth of New York really showed itself on this playoff run. Yeah, Landry Shamet contributing, Alvarado contributing. And again, the late game execution was just phenomenal by the New York Knicks. Get this stat. I saw this. I was like, wow. And just incredible resiliency from the New York Knicks. The Spurs led for 178 minutes in the NBA Finals. The Knicks led for 57 minutes in the NBA Finals. Let that sink in. It just shows you they have resiliency on their side. And I go back to the previous experiences. You're down 20 points in Boston in game 1, a team who has just beat you down, 13 or 14 games in a row. You could have been like, you know what? We're not going to win this game. And you go down 20 again in game 2. You could have had the same mentality. Or you could have said to yourself, we got one. They came back and won both of those games. So you can imagine the confidence they gained from that experience. They knew fast forward to now, the rest is history. So Knicks fans, you guys should be through the roof. Like, I couldn't imagine seeing my team, and I'm spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna come up here and say like I've had it rough. I really haven't. The Red Sox, when I first started watching them, was in like '98. So it took them 6 years to finally win a World Series. I didn't really suffer. The Philadelphia Eagles, they went to NFC Championship games with Donovan McNabb, and they finally broke through in 2017. They beat Brady and Mahomes. Then you look at the Boston Celtics. They're either making the playoffs, rebuilding quickly, or winning championships, or making the NBA Finals. So I've never seen suffering like the Knicks fans have. Incredible run. This was an incredible team, and they deserve all the credit in the world. They were the better team. And even if the Spurs had made it interesting, the matchup was on their side. You had Cat, who could bring out Wemby from the paint. He had the advantage when Wemby guarded him out in space one-on-one. Wemby's not that good as a perimeter defender, and maybe he'll get to that level. But the paint was open. What the Spurs need next is a more physical player who can help rim protect, like an Aaron Gordon prototype or a Tatum prototype. That will go a long way. But look at the matchup. The Knicks were better. It's just that simple. Sure, the Spurs went up 29 points in game 4. That could have shifted momentum a little bit. But even if the Spurs had won that game, I still felt like the Knicks were going to win the series because just the advantage they had and the resiliency that was on their side, and of course the experience in late game execution won out. So shout out to the Knicks. Y'all deserve all the credit incredible playoff run. Kudos to y'all. Hope you guys enjoy my thoughts about the Knicks winning their first championship in 53 years. We'd love to hear your thoughts about this incredible playoff run from the New York Knicks, and Knicks fans, how you guys feeling as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.